Hey guys, what's going on? John Haddock here, joined by William Bethea. We're going to talk about some of the new books we've been reading.
Oh, yeah.
So, first one we've got is the new X title by Hickman. What'd you think of this? I know you're the X-Men guy.
Hey, man. So, I'm like this right now. Mr. Hickman, I'm supporting you. I see a solid direction, but there's certain character things that is just killing me right now. I'm sorry. Scott Summers was raised by Charles Xavier. Charles Xavier needs to be the father figure. I can't have this dude Space Jammer like coming in his life like, yeah, hey, we gonna bond now, we gonna be father and son. Nah, that's Charles' role. That's Charles. And now that he's so cool with Phantom X body, it's like, I'm not the parent guy anymore. Now I'm just like super mutant with me and Magneto. No, what? No. I need Charles to be Charles. If Charles Xavier is gonna be the head of this thing, and he's making these moves in the background, and they got this collective group, and at the end of the day, him and Magneto and Moore McTaggart are the ones orchestrating the whole thing. I need Charles Xavier to be Charles Xavier. If he's not Charles Xavier, if he's gonna be Mr. Cool, Mr. I'm the God, no, we fooling ourselves. I mean, it's this X-Men title is supposed to be, from what I'm understanding from Hickman, because everything is continuity, and he's saying that the House of M happened. I keep bringing this up. He said the Genosha incident happened. So, it's continuity. Everything that's happened has happened. And this is the result of not just the lives of Moore McTaggart, but him and Magneto coming together saying, all right, we've tried our way. It didn't work. Here we are. I believe if that's the case, since when are we saying that Jean Grey is great enough to be the head of a table? What? I mean, Jean Grey, she now a leader. Jean Grey, what? Really? No, Jean Grey ain't no leader. Jean Grey ain't no leader.
Jean's always had her like ups and downs, though. I mean, when you look at, I think what the X-Men need to focus on is they need that strong female character in a lead role, and that's something they really haven't had, and they're doing it with Storm.
That's the one.
They're doing it with Storm, but here's the thing: Jean is more powerful. Jean's more powerful than Storm.
Okay. Yes, she is, and she more crazy.
Yes, and that's why I think Jean is just more interested. If you do Jean right and you build her up the right way, instead of like, oh, it's Jean's clone, no, Jean died, no, whatever. You stick with this Jean Grey and you ride it out and you make her be as legitimate as she can be, it will be fine.
All right, so, no. I'm telling you right now, the characters, Storm, Rogue. I want Rogue to touch Jean, take everything from her. Just, take it all. And then Jean, yeah, I don't get Jean. Look, I read a comic. It was during Archangel's run as turning into the apocalypse.
So Death.
Yes.
When he's like Death.
He was, well, this was a new, what's it called? The Dark Angel Saga.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed them go back to the Age of Apocalypse. And come to find out, running the Age of Apocalypse right now, it was Wolverine. Wolverine was the new Apocalypse. And Jean had the power. Wait a minute. Jean had the power to pull everybody that went into this alternate reality back to their own reality. That's how powerful she was. She didn't need no space-time continuum machine, nothing. She just said, go home. And they all went home. Yeah, she powerful. And you know what? Even there, she still failed as a leader.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I liked about this book was I loved how they showed Magneto just being a force to be reckoned with when he
Oh,
took
yeah.
on them. He was so cool there.
Yeah.
You get to see Cyclops in action. I think that's what
Yeah.
the X-Men title from the past 12 issues. We haven't seen a whole lot of action. It's mostly been story building that. We finally got to see the X-Men do their thing. This book sets up the new villain, the humans, and how they're as we saw in the Powers and House, how they're more inclined to go to technology versus the mutants. So we're seeing the foundation of that being laid out. I know next week we got the Marauders won, so that we get to see
The
how
Hellfire Club.
Yeah, we get to see how that builds up. But definitely a title I'm going to continue reading.
Yeah,
How about you?
I'm in, man. You know me.
So next we have a title that you are very much happy with. Absolute Carnage 4. What'd you think?
Beautiful. It was wonderful. I wait a minute. The only problem I got is Miles Morales. It's like Miles Morales in the other one, his comic, he had beat the symbiote and now he going in. Now this one, he's back bad again, and he had to have my man shock him to get the symbiote off of him, so he could come back and be Miles. I felt that was kind of no. But other than that, everything.
Well, I think like when you're looking at the titles with all the crossing, with all the spider people, I think the biggest thing is, you have Peter Parker's like the main one, and he has to be. They portray these characters weaker than what they really are.
Okay.
I think when you have Peter Parker, he's the end all be all for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Then you have Miles Morales. I mean, when you look at all his powers, he has the Venom blast.
Yes,
he has invisibility, all that stuff. You can't portray them as strong as they are, especially when they're going up against Carnage, who's supposed to be this end all be all.
Yeah,
exactly.
He God.
I'm curious to see where they go with the other characters. I know they brought in Captain America, Wolverine, the Thing. And the best thing with Fantastic Four and the Hulk, but when you bring in the Thing, you also have to bring in the rest of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So, I'm hoping we get to see, Johnny Storm because symbiotes hate fire. Yeah. So that would make sense bringing in the Human Torch. So we got I think this wraps up next month. Yeah, it wraps up next month. I know I'm reading some of the tie-ins. We've been reading Deadpool, the Miles Morales one, obviously. I stopped reading The Scream. I stopped reading...
Scream is all right, but,
what was the other one I stopped reading? Lethal Protectors was horrible. I couldn't get past it. So next we have City of Bane, Batman, what is this, issue 81. They've been pumping these out ridiculously. I think this week we're getting a break. But I think this Batman title has not been strong for a long time. And one of the things with this, they definitely try to push a lot of stuff really, really fast, and they force the plot lines because I think DC just wants the storyline to be over so they can bring in the guy from Detective and let him take over the book. Overall, the art is fantastic. I think that's why they brought in Romita Jr. just to give this book as much strength as it could, given all the backlash they've received. What's crazy, which I didn't like, is this is City of Bane. We haven't really seen a whole lot of Bane.
No.
We've really just seen in this book. You're seeing henchmen, and you're focusing on Thomas Wayne's Flashpoint Batman, and that's really the focus of this book is the Flashpoint Batman, and not really Bane. The story isn't living up to the title. I've been too invested in this book. I'm going to continue reading it because it is Batman. And if you're collecting, you never know what's going to happen with these books. I mean, we even saw the death of Alfred just randomly happen.
That was huge.
And if you're collecting, that's a book you're going to want because that book is already, I think, doubled, maybe quadrupled in price. Here's a book that I heard a lot of buzz when it first came out. Kind of died down in the second issue. This is J.J. Abrams and his son's run on SpiderMan. It's pretty interesting. You have all the heroes are pretty much dead and gone. Spider-Man's mortally wounded, just like he is with the May Parker, where his daughter takes over with her brother as Spider-Man. That universe. We see that same thing here, but it's his son, not his daughter, taking over, and he finds a Spider-Man costume and is slowly deciding on whether he should be Spider-Man or not. And there's a very interesting death that happens right away in the beginning. This is definitely something I pick up. I know the first issue was $4.99, and they went back down to $3.99 with these books. These are, I think this is the better of the Spider-Man books that is out. I know Amazing really hasn't been doing it for me, but I'm a Spider-Man guy, so I'm going to keep reading it just like the Superman. But this was one of the books that I picked up for Spider-Man. I was like, This is Spider-Man, and it filled the Spider-Man void that we've been missing.
Okay.
Anything else that you've been reading?
I've caught up with Immortal Hulk, so I'm trying to go back now, but I like Immortal Hulk. I do. I like Immortal Hulk, especially now that he's seemingly taken over the secret organization that's been hunting him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome. I also been reading an off-brand book called Outer Darkness. It's an Image comic book from Skyland.
You mean Skybound?
Skybound. Skybound. I want to get it right. It is awesome. It is. I tell you, it's horror. It's aliens. It's a little mixture of Star Trek. Even a taste of like the Orville. You know, that they like comedy, but and ultimately demons. Hey, they got what do you call them? Exorcist on the ship. Yeah. So oh man, I've been enjoying that title.
Something I just finished up reading. I finished reading the Black Hammer library collection, and that's a Dark Horse title. It's fantastic. It's imagine you take the parody versions. I don't know if you'd call them parody, but kind of they're definitely inspired by Golden Age heroes.
Okay.
And you take them and you put them in like a Twilight Zone episode where they're stuck on a farm, or like a bad a city where they're just stuck. It's like a farmland and they can't leave. And you get to see a lot of character development. It's not really an action title. It's kind of like a who's done it, where are we, what do we do, a lot of mystery, a lot of suspense, and it's huge on the sci-fi end. They have a character, Colonel Colonel Weird, and he's basically the spin-off of Adam Strange from DC, from his space. So they play on that a lot, and it's definitely a fun book if you haven't read it. It's by Dark Horse. Definitely something to check out. It's in not only the library collection, it's in trade paperbacks and stuff. It was one of Dark Horse's bigger titles last year. That's it with me. Do you have anything else?
I've been watching a couple shows, and I'm really having a kind of issue with people just not putting enough into understanding these comics mean something. You know what I'm saying? And these comics are special to people. People are developing their livelihoods. People are developing relationships with their families. People are developing their imagination is developing due to these comic books. And I think that there's not enough being said about the necessity of having comic books. I think that needs to be pushed more with these other channels and stuff like it. Comics are special. Comic book shops are special. You know what I'm saying? The Comic Cons are special. Okay, these are places we go. These are books that we read to not just indulge in our pleasures, but to grow. And when you have an outlet like that and it's not being talked about like that, I think it does a disservice to the framework of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, on that note, this is John Haddock and William Bethea from Think About Comics. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to have more stuff out again. Give a like, give us a subscribe. If you go to the comments, me or Bethea will definitely hit you back up. Thanks again, guys.